Audrey Werro beat Keely Hodgkinson at the European Championships in Birmingham, holding off the Olympic champion down the home straight to break a record that had stood for 44 years. But 2 nights before that race, Werro was face down on the track, and nobody thought she would even make the final. On August 14 at Alexander Stadium, Birmingham, the women's 800-meter final began, and Audrey Werro went out fast, led every step of the race, and held off a hard-charging Keely Hodgkinson right at the line. Final time 1:54.81 to 1:55.01, and that time didn't just win her the gold. It broke a championship record that had stood since 1982, 44 years untouched. That's the result. Now here's the full story of how she even got to that start line. Rewind 1 night earlier to August 13. Werro was flying through her semifinal out in front, looking untouchable. She had already run the 3rd fastest 800 meters in history earlier that season, so nobody in that field could match her speed. Then on the final bend, France's Anaïs Bourgoin's hand clipped her foot. Werro hit the ground hard. She grabbed her stomach. Her fall even tripped up Lithuania's Gabaja Galvadite, who went down right behind her. Werro got back up and finished the race in last place, 16th overall. Her shot at gold looked over before the final even started. She spoke to the cameras right after, still shaken from the fall. She said she felt amazing until that final moment, and then suddenly she was on the ground. She said she didn't even know what happened, and that she would need to watch it back on video just to understand it herself. Officials launched a review almost immediately. Early camera angles made it look like Werro might have clipped her own leg, but a different angle told a clearer story. It showed Bourgoin's hand making contact with Werro's foot on that final bend. Under the rules, that counted as interference, not her own mistake. The referee ruled in her favor. Werro was reinstated into the final. So was Galvadite, who fell because of the same tangle. 10 runners would now race for gold instead of 9. 1 night later, on August 14, Keely Hodgkinson heard about the fall right after finishing her own semifinal, which she won comfortably. She said it was a real shame, and she hoped Werro would be okay and still make the final. She said that would be a really exciting race, and that she loved a good challenge. She said she just hoped it would be a clean race with nobody falling over. She had no idea how right she was about the excitement still to come. Here's why this rematch mattered so much. Back in June, at the Diamond League in Stockholm, Werro shocked the world. She ran 1:53.98. That's the 3rd fastest 800 meters ever run by a woman. She beat Hodgkinson, the reigning Olympic champion and world indoor record holder, in a straight head-to-head battle. Hodgkinson even broke her own British record in that same race, running faster than she ever had before, and she still lost. After that Stockholm race, Hodgkinson didn't hide how she felt. She called Werro's run incredible racing. She said Werro pushed her to run faster than she thought possible that day, but she also made a promise. She said she wouldn't let that happen again. She said the European Championships would be a great battle between them, and that it was exciting to be part of this era of 800-meter running. Werro felt the weight of that moment too. She said beating Hodgkinson had become a personal goal for her, because she knew just how fast Hodgkinson really was. That single race in Stockholm changed how the entire sport viewed both women heading into Birmingham. That promise set up one of the most anticipated races of the entire championships. A packed home crowd screaming for their Olympic champion. A rival chasing revenge after a shocking loss on her own soil. And a 22-year-old Swiss runner who had just fallen flat on her face 2 nights earlier, somehow given a second chance to finish what she started in Sweden. Now let's break down exactly how that final unfolded. Alexander Stadium was completely full. The gun went off. Werro didn't wait around. She shot to the front immediately, starting from the outside lane like she had something to prove. Her first lap was blazing, just over 56 seconds. That's an aggressive pace for anyone to hold on to for a full 2 laps, and it immediately put every other runner in the field under pressure. Hodgkinson stayed close behind her. She's known for fast starts herself, and she wasn't going to let Werro run away with it early. Femke Brodersbal from the Netherlands tucked in right behind them both. Brodersbal was new to this event at the top level. She used to compete in hurdles and only switched her full focus to the 800 meters that season. This was her first major championship final in the event, and she was hanging with two of the best runners the world has ever seen. Coming off the final bend, the whole stadium rose to its feet. Hodgkinson began to close the gap. She's famous for her finishing kick, the kind of speed that has run down almost everyone she's ever raced in the closing meters. For a moment, it looked like she might catch Werro completely. The crowd noise got louder with every step, willing their runner home, desperate to see their Olympic champion complete the comeback. But Werro had nothing left to give away. She dug in. She held her form through the pain. She refused to let Hodgkinson get past her in those final meters, matching her stride all the way to the line. Just 0.2 of a second separated them at the finish. Now here's what made that time so historic. The old championship record belonged to Olga Minyeva of the Soviet Union, who ran 1:55.41 back in 1982 in Athens, back when the Cold War was still shaping world sport. That mark survived every single European championships for 44 years straight, through generations of great 800-meter runners, through decades of shoe technology and training advances. That record never fell. Until Audrey Werro crossed the line in Birmingham and finally erased it from the books behind them. Femke Brodersbal grabbed bronze in 1:55.54, tying her own national record in the process. Think about that for a second. A woman who last raced the indoor 800 meters as a 16-year-old back in 2017, then spent years building her career around hurdles instead, just medaled at a European Championship final against the two best 800-meter runners on the planet. For Werro, this was her first senior title ever, not her first medal. Her first title at the senior level, earned 2 nights after lying on the track, wondering if her championship dream was already finished. Her celebration told the whole story. She let out a roar and dropped into what looked like a lion pose on the track. She later explained that celebration came from being shy as a kid, and it became her way of finally letting everything out after 2 days packed with chaos, doubt, and complete redemption. For Hodgkinson, this marks the second time this year that Werro has beaten her at the biggest possible stage. She's the reigning Paris Olympic champion. She's the world indoor record holder. She's widely seen as one of the most dominant 800-meter runners of her entire generation. And twice now, in 2 different countries, Audrey Werro has found a way to hold her off exactly when it mattered most. This rivalry is far from finished. Reports already point to another showdown coming up next month, this time at a major championship in Budapest. If Stockholm and Birmingham were this intense, that next meeting between them might end up being even bigger, and fans across the sport are already counting down to it. It's also worth remembering just how young both of these women still are. Hodgkinson only turned 24 this year, and she's already an Olympic champion with a world record to her name. Werro is even younger at 22, and she's already chasing down marks that have survived since before either of their parents were competing at this level. Whatever happens in Budapest, the sport is watching 2 athletes who are likely to be racing each other for the next decade. What makes Werro's rise so remarkable is just how fast it all happened. A little over a year ago, she was in tears after crashing out of the European Indoor Championships, finishing dead last in her heat after a fall of her own. Back then, she looked nowhere near ready for the world stage. 15 months later, she's the fastest woman this century over 800 meters, sitting just half a second off the outright world record that has stood untouched since 1983. Nobody saw this coming, not this fast, and not against this level of competition. A hard fall on Thursday, a championship record on Friday. That's one of the great comeback stories in recent track and field history, written in less than 48 hours.